Hey everyone, and welcome to the Action Hero Podcast. Each day we bring you a fresh hit of action-packed stories told in a way that'll leave you wanting more. I'm Adrian.
And I'm Julia. Get ready for a wild ride because today we're taking you deep into a world of bounty hunters, corporate villains, and international intrigue.
Buckle up, because this story, No Man's Land, throws you right into the action, alongside Cash, a bounty hunter, on the verge of raiding a smuggler's compound. He's after a big fish, a corrupt CEO named DeMarco Hero. Think the kind of guy who'd sell his own grandmother for the right price.
What strikes me about Cash is how the story sets him up as this classic anti-hero. He's clearly skilled and dangerous, but there's a sense that he's not just motivated by the money. You get this feeling there's a deeper, maybe even a fading sense of justice within him.
Right, and that internal struggle between pragmatism and idealism really comes through in his interactions with his partner, who we only know as a voice over the comms. They're a team, but there's this underlying tension. He's laser-focused on the target, and she's picking up on something else entirely, the presence of a diplomat's daughter.
I see it as a bait and switch. We think this is a straightforward bounty hunt, but the moment that diplomat's daughter enters the picture, everything shifts. She's not just a random bystander. She becomes this catalyst that forces Cash to confront his own moral compass. What do you think her presence represents in this world of ruthless bounty hunters and corporate greed?
I think you're spot on. And it's not like she's just some damsel in distress either. She's got her own agenda, her own secrets. We find out she's carrying evidence against her own father, proof of some seriously shady dealings. It adds a whole layer of complexity to the story, right?
Absolutely. This family drama unfolds against the backdrop of corporate corruption. DeMarco embodies that classic villain we love to hate, powerful, ruthless, and seemingly untouchable. The diplomat's daughter becomes this symbol of resistance, someone willing to risk everything to expose the truth.
The story really kicks into high gear when the raid on the compound goes down. Cash manages to capture DeMarco, but just when he thinks he's home free, a new threat emerges. A group of mercenaries who also have a claim on DeMarco.
And these aren't your average thugs. They're the real deal. Professional, heavily armed, and definitely not afraid to use lethal force. They represent this whole other level of danger, not just for Cash, but for the diplomat's daughter as well.
Things get really intense from there. In all the chaos, the woman gets shot, and Cash is caught between his original mission and this unexpected urge to protect her. He drags her to safety, and she makes a dying declaration, entrusting him with a flash drive containing the evidence against her father.
That moment is a turning point in the story. The stakes are suddenly so much higher. It's not just about the bounty anymore. It's about justice, about fulfilling a promise made to a dying woman. You really feel the weight of that responsibility.
And to make things even more complicated, she begs him to run to the border to use her diplomatic immunity to escape. He becomes this unlikely guardian fighting for her survival.
Right. And this is where you see Cash transform from this cynical bounty hunter into a reluctant hero. He puts himself in harm's way to create a diversion, allowing her to escape while he faces the full force of those mercenaries.
The story ends with Cash disappearing into the desert, her blood staining his hands. That image is so powerful. It symbolizes the debt he now owes her, the burden of her trust. He walks away from the bounty, choosing to honor her dying wish over a big payday.
It's a classic cliffhanger, leaving you wondering, will he succeed in bringing down DeMarco, the corrupt CEO? Will he escape those mercenaries? And maybe even more importantly, will he honor her dying wish and expose the truth about her father? It's a lot to process.
This is where the story gets under your skin. It's not just about the action and intrigue. It's about the choices people make when facing impossible odds. Cash is forced to confront his own values, and in doing so, he becomes more than just a bounty hunter. He becomes a glimmer of hope in this world where justice is often elusive, wouldn't you say?
The story ends, and you're left with this sense of unease, almost like you're standing right there in no man's land with Cash.
Yeah, it's more than just a setting, isn't it, No Man's Land? It reflects Cash's whole internal state, like he's adrift.
Yeah.
Caught between who he was and who he's becoming.
Exactly. He's not chasing a bounty anymore. He's carrying the weight of this woman's dying wish, the burden of her trust. It's like he's in this morally ambiguous zone now, and you're left wondering, what's his next move going to be?
It makes you think, doesn't it? Like, will he even try to use the evidence on that flash drive? Or will he just vanish, choosing self-preservation over justice?
That's the genius of the ending. It forces us, the audience, to step into the story. We imagine the possibilities, weigh the potential outcomes. What do you think happens next? Does he go after DeMarco and the diplomat? Does he become this vigilante figure?
This is the Action Hero Podcast. We need some theories. What's your gut telling you?
Knowing Cash, I don't think he's going to take the easy way out. He's had this taste of redemption, this glimpse of something bigger than himself. My guess is he'll use the evidence, but on his own terms, he's not going to play by anyone else's rules.
I love that. So we're thinking a showdown in no man's land Cash, using his skills to expose the truth and take down the bad guys. It'd be like a modern Western with a lone hero fighting for justice against a corrupt system.
And don't forget about those mercenaries. They're still out there, hunting for both DeMarco and Cash. They have to factor into the climax somehow, maybe even forcing an unlikely alliance.
Now that's an interesting twist. Cash and DeMarco. Two enemies forced to work together to survive against a common enemy. And then you've got the diplomat, exposed by his own daughter's actions. He'd become a wild card in all of this.
It sets the stage for an explosive ending, doesn't it? The stakes are sky high, freedom, justice, revenge. With no man's land as the backdrop, anything could happen.
The story has all the elements we crave. Intense chases, moral dilemmas, characters pushed to their limits. But what really sets it apart is how it makes you question your own ideas of right and wrong.
It's like a mirror reflecting back at us. You can't help but ask yourself, what would I do in Cash's shoes?
And that's what makes No Man's Land so captivating. It's more than just an action thriller. It's a story that stays with you long after you've finished it.
It makes you think about the choices we make, the consequences that ripple outward and ultimately shape the world around us.
So what do you think will happen to Cash in No Man's Land?
Will he find a way to bring down DeMarco without compromising his own sense of justice? Or will he cross that line and embrace a darker path?
Let us know your thoughts. Head over to our social media pages and share your theories. We'd love to hear what you think.
And don't forget to rate and follow the Action Hero podcast for more epic tales of adventure and carnage. We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new story.
Until then, stay action-packed. It's amazing how No Man's Land takes this, familiar setup, a bounty hunter, a corrupt CEO, a diplomat's daughter, and it turns it into something so thought-provoking. What do you think makes this story resonate so strongly with listeners?
I think it's the way it blends those classic action elements, with these deeper questions of morality and redemption, like you're on the edge of your seat with the chases and the danger, but at the same time, you're wrestling with these ethical dilemmas right alongside Cash.
Exactly. It's not just mindless entertainment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes you think about the choices we all face and how those choices define who we are.
And that ending.
Right.
Like, it just leaves you with so much to ponder. What happens to Cash? Does he succumb to the darkness of No Man's Land? Or does he find a way to hold on to that flicker of hope?
It's a question that lingers long after the story ends.
Yeah.
It makes you examine your own values and ask yourself, what would I do in a similar situation?
And that's the mark of a truly great action story, I think. It's not just about the thrills and spills. It's about exploring the human condition and pushing us to confront the complexities of the world around us.
So for all of you listening out there, we want to hear your thoughts. What do you think happens next in No Man's Land?
Head over to our social media pages and share your theories. Would Cash turn into a full-blown vigilante? Does he find a way to bring down the bad guys without compromising his own sense of justice?
We can't wait to hear your take on the story. And don't forget to rate and follow the Action Hero podcast for more epic tales of adventure and carnage.
We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new story filled with twists, turns, and characters that will leave you breathless. Until then, stay action-packed.